Hello everyone, today I'm going to be speaking about Ebola and also I want to talk a little bit about the blood moons and about Israel today as well. So the big news story right now, guys, is Ebola, the Ebola virus, this outbreak that's been coming to America, and it's already here. So I want to speak about that right now. Some of you know a little bit about Ebola, but most of you may have heard it and just know it's this really nasty virus and it sounds really scary. Probably one of the worst viruses. If you were to pick, what's the worst thing to get? I think Ebola would be number one on most people's lists of most nastiest virus, the one you don't want. Not only because it sounds scary, but what it actually does to you is pretty scary. A lot of similarities between Ebola and the Black Plague. The one bubonic plague happened in 14th, 15th century. So it's scary. But to explain a little bit about Ebola, Ebola started was discovered in the late 1970s. There was outbreaks of it in Sudan and Africa, and actually in different parts of Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, and it came from these bats, these fruit bats. People came in contact with them and they contracted this nasty virus. And, there's no real, medical facilities over there. So once you got it, you really just had to deal with it. And, you get fever, you get vomiting, you get diarrhea, you get basically all the symptoms of a really nasty flu. But on top of that, there's organ failures associated with it. Over time, your liver will stop functioning, your kidneys will stop functioning. Basically, your whole endocrine system, the stuff that gets all the nasty crap out of your body, stops working, and it your body becomes this toxic mess, and then you start suffering internal bleeding. You have external bleeding in some cases, and then, of course, organ failure, and you die. So it's a scary, nasty disease if untreated. Now, that's the thing I want to speak about today, guys. You noticed they flew those two doctors over who had contracted Ebola, and they got here, they were treated, and they walked out of the hospital a few weeks later. Nothing's wrong. So, you can survive Ebola. Untreated, the death rate for Ebola is about 90%. So, basically, if you're not treated and you get Ebola, you're probably going to die from it. But if you are treated with Ebola and you get it, you have a better chance. It's kind of like, a 20 to 50% chance that you'll survive. So you have better chances if you're treated. Of course, nowadays, there's many different ways that you can fight infections with modern medicine. So it's a scary thing, but I just, I don't perpetuate fear. I don't want people to be scared. It is something you need to be concerned about, but the news does a really good job at freaking everybody out, and I like to do the opposite and try to calm everybody, and, it's not something that we need to be freaked out about. If you're alone in Africa, yeah, I would be a little bit more worried about it, but if you're in America where, you have access to medical facilities, and you were one in the million people who got it, you have a pretty decent chance of surviving. So, but Ebola, guys, it's here in America now, and what I think a lot of the news media does is, they grab a story, and then they perpetuate, oh, Ebola's here, Ebola, and they just like the word Ebola because it's scary. And, it's fixed in people's minds because you've probably heard about it over time, about this nasty little virus called Ebola. It's more of a mental scare than an actual, physical scare. Even though, you'll see the people in the hazmat suits, it's like total, outbreak, epidemic. You'll see all these movies about the outbreak and how they're wearing these hazmat suits because everybody's contaminated. So I think it's a lot more of a play than an actual something that the majority of people here in America need to be worried about. you need to have a concern about it. Don't get me wrong. But I'm sure if you take the precautions necessary, there's really nothing to be afraid of. And what I want to say is, many of you who know me personally know I have a very high speculation of the news media and the alternative motivations that are out there in the world, which is all financial. Everything is done for money. And right now, you'll notice that the news media is feeding the fear of Ebola, just like they feed the fear of the avian flu, the swine flu. You need to get a vaccine. And that's what's coming, guys. There's a vaccine coming for Ebola. They don't have one yet, but rest assured, they are working tirelessly on creating this vaccine. So, drug companies look at this as an opportunity to make money. If we could just come up with a vaccine, get all these people scared about it, then they'll want to take our vaccine. So, just like with all the other flus. So, that's what I foresee coming, guys. I'm not saying vaccines, you shouldn't get one, but I think, I don't think they're good in general. I'm a little suspicious of them in the first place. You probably have your own opinions about them, but I just don't like the idea of vaccines all around, injecting yourself with a virus in order to defend against a virus. So it really doesn't make much sense to me, but then again, I'm not a doctor and haven't really studied it extensively. But I just am aware that if you keep healthy practices, you'll probably stay pretty healthy. So what I foresee, guys, with Ebola is it'll probably fade away in the news cycle. There will be a bigger story that comes around. It'll still be here. More people will die. It will spread. But they'll probably come up with a vaccine. You'll hear about people being treated for it in different places. But I think it'll just fade away, just like with all the other, outbreak stories. Unless it becomes like a major problem where like over 10,000 people are dying from this disease.